Democrat, but, you know,
Jerry,
a
you're
good guy, blah, blah. So,
India.
my
Tell
brother,
Jerry.
my brother donated
Jerry.
money.
Jerry.
You don't have any proclamations.
My brother donated money to his campaign, did a whole bunch of stuff.
Thank you.
When the press went to her house and knocked on the door to ask her about her platform, she told the cops and had them arrested for trespassing. She won by 4%.
There you go.
My brother's like in Scottsdale or something.
My parents used to live there.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a nice house, but you gotta drive everywhere. That's why I don't like it.
We'd like people to tell them to not answer
How
us.
long did they live?
That's Board of Health. You want it?
Okay, you ready?
So I was gonna say, change the lot since my brother moved out.
Good evening, everyone. Would you please join us in a salute to the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2014 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2013, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mr. Brownlee?
Here.
Mrs. Larrier?
Here.
Mr. Leventhal?
Here.
Mr. Ryan?
Here.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public, and whereas Section 7 provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas desire this governing body to comply with the provisions of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Maplewood, County of Essex, State of New Jersey, that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the governing body by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. Thank you very much. Good evening,
Mayor?
everyone.
Mayor, can I just take a moment, since you can't say it, to congratulate you and Mrs. Larrier on your reelection yesterday, and to say that we're looking forward to working with you in the coming years.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to the meeting of November 5th. We are going to first start off with public comment, and I'm going to ask only public comment on, well, if you're going to speak about trap, neuter, release, that would not be the time to speak. So if you have something other than trap, neuter, release, or return, that is the time during public comment when you would come up. Then we're going to have our monthly Board of Health meeting. And after that, we have 2 ordinances on final passage. 1 ordinance on final passage, and that is the pilot program for the trap, neuter, release. At that time, I will ask if there's anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance, and anyone who would like to speak about trap, neuter, release, that would be the time to come up. Introduce yourself, tell us where you live, and make your comments. After that, we will have a vote. We'll have our discussion up here. We'll have a vote on that ordinance. And if the ordinance is successful, we will consider a resolution designating Furry Hearts Rescue as the sponsoring organization. After that issue is over, we'll go to our introduction of a new ordinance, and that's to eliminate the regulation of chlorofluorocarbons and halons. And then we have another ordinance we're introducing tonight, and that is to establish 20-minute parking at 195 Maplewood Avenue, which is going to be the home of the post office. We have no discussion items tonight. We have our consent agenda, which deals with paying of bills, a settlement agreement with the firefighter union, our minutes of October 21st, And then we also have a resolution that is an interlocal agreement with South Orange for IT services, and a resolution designating a new developer for the post office site, and that's JMF Properties of Cedar Knolls, New Jersey. After that, after the consent agenda, we'll have another public comment period. We'll have administrative reports, reports from elected officials, and roughly 8:30-ish, we hope to be done with this, and we will go into a closed session to interview candidates for the Public Works Director. Our Public Works Director is retiring December 1st, and we're going to be interviewing candidates for his replacement. So that's where we are. So we'll start off with the first public comment period. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the Township Committee on an issue? Okay. Seeing no one, we will close the public comment period, and we will move into our monthly Board of Health meeting.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mrs. Larrier.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by the mailing in of the annual notice of regular meetings for 2014 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2013, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Mr. Brownlee?
Here.
Mayor DeLuca?
Here.
Mr. Leventhal?
Here.
Mr. Ryan?
Here.
Mrs. Larry?
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public, whereas Section 7 provides that the Maplewood Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, whereas the desire of the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provisions of this Act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner, now therefore be resolved by the Board of Health of the Township of Maplewood, that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health at all of its regular meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to the November Board of Health meeting. I will have approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brownlee?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, so sorry. Ms. Leventhal.
I'd like to ask for one correction to the minutes. On the top of page 2, it's talking about the styrofoam ordinance, and then the next paragraph talks about furry hearts and a procedure manual. At the end of the second paragraph, it says that the furry hearts ordinance and procedures will be referred to the Environmental Advisory Committee and the Green Team. That sentence belongs up with the styrofoam. Just to be clear about it.
Okay, Mr. Rowe, you have that change?
So noted.
Thank you.
I
With,
move it with those changes.
I second it with those changes.
thank you. Now, thank you.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes. Thank you. We now have one of our health department nurses is here to give us a presentation regarding our gratitude graffiti project. You might recall that we did this last year. It was a rousing success, and we're going to hear more about it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations to the Township Committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this year, I'd like to tell you about the Gratitude Graffiti Project. We're in our third year, and it started in Maplewood in 2012 by myself and Lucilla McElroy.
I'm sorry, Candace, can I just get you to, Candace Davenport,
Oh,
can I
sure.
just get you to tell your name?
Candace Davenport, Public Health Nurse,
Thank you.
Maplewood Health Department. But I'm speaking as Candace Davenport, resident of 477 Richmond Avenue, Maplewood, New Jersey.
Thank you.
So starting this year in Maplewood, we started November 1st, and we're going strong with over 25 local businesses and our local library participating in the project this year. They are participating as gratitude stops and are asking our residents to contemplate, what are you grateful for? While the idea of spreading happiness through creativity and a positive attitude could not have started in a better place than Maplewood, it could also not be contained. We have spread throughout the country, from California to New York, to Iowa, Washington, Virginia, Texas, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Missouri, Tennessee, Oregon, and Illinois. This project has been to more places than I have. The Gratitude Graffiti Project has found champions in the schools of Vancouver, British Columbia, and has global reach to touch people where they live in small communities and large metropolises and make people love the place where they live, work, and play as much as I do. But this is not just your ordinary community art project. The Gratitude Graffiti Project has the ability to uplift the spirits of your community and change the perspectives of its individuals. It's found a common home and has struck a chord in unlikely places such as military bases, penitentiaries, drug rehab centers, food pantries, cultural arts centers, senior living centers, churches, barbershops, and hospitals. The locations of the project across the country are as diverse as the country itself. A cancer support center in Council Bluffs, Iowa, was quoted as saying this to the local press: "The project is intended to help people focus on what they're thankful for and what is right in our lives. This helps people keep life in perspective and can become a tool for healing and coping with difficulties in our lives." I would like to acknowledge the support of our local community and businesses who, for the third year, have opened their hearts, their windows, and their doors and walls to the project to create public art displays of gratitude. I'd also like to particularly thank and recognize the Able Baker for their sponsorship this year and the Maplewood Chamber of Commerce for their speedy and enthusiastic communications. I'd like to express a great deal of thanks to the Maplewood Health Department for sponsoring the supplies for the project, and to the Township Committee for your support of my volunteerism and spread of positive mental health and wellness to our town. I would also like to gratefully acknowledge the support and partnership with Atlantic Health System. I'm going to pass out these, I'm not going to really pass out, but I'm going to pass out these brochures, which describe the Gratitude Graffiti Project. And if you turn it over, you'll notice that the Atlantic Health System has provided the printing of this brochure.
Thank you.
Because they really believe in the health of the community, and that hospitals have the power to heal. And that's their perspective. I'd invite you then to join in the celebration of the season of gratitude as we work toward Thanksgiving. So next time you stop by the library or one of the stores in town, please go inside, grab a marker, write one thing you're grateful for, then step back, smile, take a picture of it, and send it to someone you love or post it on your social media, and celebrate the big and little things that we all have to be thankful for. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Davenport? Thank you, and thank you for spearheading this and even bringing it to our community. I think it's a great program.
Thank you, Ms. Laurier.
Mr. Rowe, we can have your report, please?
Try to follow that, Mr. Rowe.
Show a little gratitude, Mr. Rowe.
Come on, let's practice. How about a smile first?
Gratitude.
Well, I also want to congratulate Candace. She came up with a great idea. She just was recently out in Seattle at a conference presenting her program. So it's we have maybe we'll have a celebrity here that people will come to see from far and wide soon. I just want to say, Ebola's been in the news a lot lately, and I just want to report that Maplewood has been preparing. We've had a meeting of our local emergency management, treating it as an emergency with fire, police, our township administrator, who's our OEM coordinator, and the health department, so that we're all on the same page in case we need to respond to any cases of Ebola that may happen in the township. So I just wanted to report that we are prepared as much as we can be prepared. And the fire and police have added personal protection equipment to their gear, so in case they need to go in a situation where they might be in danger, hopefully they'll have the protective gear ready. This month, we were very busy doing lots of projects again, but I just wanted to note that we had some unusual communicable diseases reported this month. And there's one called chikungunya, which is actually, it's a mosquito-borne disease. It's in the, now found in the Caribbean. So if you go on a Caribbean vacation, you may have to start thinking about protecting yourselves from mosquitoes. We've had, last month we had a malaria case from someone who went to Africa. We're checking out, trying to confirm whether we have a dengue fever case, which a person, again, was in the Caribbean and may have gotten it. So a lot of these diseases that we think is foreign or very rare are really only a plane ride away. And it kind of takes you back to what the basics of a health department is supposed to do, is to control communicable disease. We do that through clinics, through education, through environmental efforts. And so just this whole situation this month kind of reminded me very strongly of what our job is and why we're doing it. So in case it had slipped by somehow, this month was a strong reminder of why we do what we do. So that's really all I have to report tonight.
Any questions for Mr. Rowe?
Our nurses made up a nice brochure.
I received an email from our nurse, Barbara Gist, regarding the open enrollment date for the Affordable Care Act, which I think is next week. November
Yes,
15th is the
November
first day of
15th.
open enrollment. So that should be notable. We might want to, the email that I got says, please distribute. Is it possible for us to put that on the website just in case anyone needs it? I know that we put the information out there last year. I'd like to put it out again this year, just for
Yes.
those who need it, as well as the free breast and cervical cancer screenings. We should have that on the website.
The library has already arranged for a whole series of Affordable Health Care Act sign-up days, and we'll be adding to that as we go through the winter season.
And that will be also on the website.
Yes, and I believe the sign-up season goes into February.
Yes,
So there's a lot more to come.
that's correct. All right, thank you. Is there anything, any other questions?
Do you put these brochures on the website, on the township website? Would be a good idea, because
Did we put it on it's on the website now.
how about this one?
That's, is the,
How about,
yes,
how
they're all
about
on the
this one?
website now.
Okay.
The reason I'm looking at Candace is
Okay.
she's much more adept at
Okay.
doing that than I
I
am.
just think it's good to have this stuff up on the website.
Is this a, what format is the file? PDF? Could you email me a copy as well? I'd like to distribute it to the members of the Maplewood Community Action Program as well, so they can send it out to their contacts, pushing it out. Thank you.
So you, I'm sorry, Ms. Davenport, you said this one is on the website now, and then we will take steps to put the gratitude graffiti one? Great. Thank you. This is the time when we ask the public if they wish to address the Board of Health. Is there anyone who would like to address the Board of Health? Seeing no one, I will point out that I know that the Board of Health has been working, Mr. Rowe and Furry Hearts have really been working very hard. I would just like to take this time to thank you for all of your help. We will be addressing those ordinances later in our regular meeting, but I did want to make comment about them in our Board of Health meeting. I appreciate all the work that has gone into this. I look forward hopefully to seeing this pass in the next few moments. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Brownlee?
Yes?
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
Mr. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to the regular agenda, and now is the consideration of an ordinance on final passage.
Mr. Mayor, item 7, ordinance on final passage, ordinance number 2761-14. It's an ordinance to create a pilot to prohibit the feeding of feral cats unless properly documented and to control the proliferation of feral cats in a humane manner for the protection of health and safety of the public. This ordinance will adopt a trap-neuter return program for feral cats within the Township of Maplewood.
Okay, this ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this ordinance? Now would be the time if you want to support the ordinance or oppose the ordinance. This would be the time to speak on it. And we just need you to give us your name and your address.
Excuse me. My name is Valerie Wilson. I represent People for Animals located in Hillside, New Jersey. I just want to congratulate you and thank you guys for your support and working with these women that have been working really hard to make this ordinance happen. The ordinance is a really good ordinance, and I really hope to see that it passes tonight. People for Animals is one of the largest spay-neuter providers in the country. We are the largest spay-neuter provider in New Jersey. We do a lot of spaying, neutering of feral cats, and we see the impact that it has on townships, the positive impact that it has for not only the animals, treating them more humanely, reducing the euthanasia numbers in shelters, and also the impact that it has on the people that live in the city that have to live with the cats. Reducing those numbers improves their lives also. So I just thank you guys for taking this ordinance into consideration.
Thank you. I will point out that People for Animals spayed my 24-year-old cat 24 years ago.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on the ordinance?
Hello, my name is Laura Himmeline. I reside at 77 Broadview Avenue in Maplewood, New Jersey. I'm also a member of Furry Hearts, and I'd just like to say thank you as well. I can't believe that it's been as long as it has been. It's been an incredible experience working with you, and I just want to say thank you, because we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the fact that you all listened and allowed us to come here, present, and show you what we can do. I think that we've worked hard. We've come up with a good ordinance. I think we have a good manual as well, operations manual, that will also be worked on as we do work, if we're allowed to work. I think you'll see results, and we're all very excited to move forward. I know from just the experience that I have, just seeing in my own next-door neighbor's backyard the difference just getting the cats spayed and neutered can make for their lives and for my life and for my neighbors' lives. So I'm really excited and looking forward to hopefully getting to work. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else want to address the Township Committee on this particular ordinance? Don't be shy.
Not the time to be shy.
Hello, I'm Janine Isabella. I reside at 69 Park Avenue. I just wanted to say thank you for the consideration for this ordinance. I actually worked with Lisa for many years, and I'm a huge animal lover, but I live in an area where there is one of the cat colonies, so I do hear from both sides of the issue. So thank you for considering it, because I want to be able to do right by the animals, but also do right by, my fellow neighbors and the issues that they've been having. So thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Melissa Hodgins, 191 Indiana Street in Maplewood. I would just like to say that I really hope this ordinance passes. I have actually picked up cats off the street, taken them in, spayed and neutered, and rehomed them. So through my own money, so I am very happy to see that there is an organization that wants to step forward and help the town make it a better place for the citizens of the town as well as the feral cats.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, we'll close the public hearing, and Mrs. Larrier, can we get a motion?
Yes, Mayor. I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole, and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a passed ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
Second.
Okay, discussion. Mrs. Larrier, would you like to start off, or?
Yes, first of all, it's interesting because in February or January, when we first heard about this program, I was dead set 110% against it. And it was really only listening to the presentation and hearing the attitudes and the, for lack of a better term, pleas of our residents who were willing to roll up their sleeves and get busy and get this done, that changed my mind. I look forward to seeing what happens over the next 3 years. I will say that there is still work to be done, which we have gotten commitment that that work will be done. I would like to recognize Ms. Sachs, because I will say that as much as I tried to make Ms. Sachs go away, she would not. She would not, and I thank you, ma'am, for your persistence, because I believe that this is why, largely your persistence is why we have this, and I look forward to seeing what will happen in Maplewood with this issue over the next few years. Thank you.
Anyone else? Brownlee, would you like to say anything?
Why would you think I want to say
Oh,
something?
well, I'm just looking. We're going to go down and see if anybody wants to say anything. So if not, it'll go to Ms. Leventhal.
Well, actually, as a matter of fact, I do.
Okay.
All right. You've heard me say it before, but I'm just going to run through it. I still have the same questions and concerns about this proposed pilot program as I've had all along and that I detailed when we had our first reading of this ordinance. If anything, I'm even more concerned now, given that I think I was pretty clear when I expressed those questions at our last meeting, and there's been no effort to address those concerns since then or tonight. Right now, feeding stray cats is prohibited, and we're essentially voting to give people a license to feed those stray cats, purportedly because doing so as part of this pilot program will reduce the number of stray cats. By how much will it reduce the number of stray cats? Who knows? The group that brought this program to us, the group that is slated to run this pilot program, the group that says that their mission is to, quote, humanely reduce the homeless cat population by sterilizing as many cats as possible, a group that, as a reminder, has never actually run such a program, is unable or unwilling to say. The literature that the group has put together also says that a benefit of this program will be lower animal costs. By how much will it lower our animal control costs? Again, the group that is slated to run this pilot program is unable or unwilling to say. So I'm being asked to vote to create this pilot program to allow the feeding of stray cats, and one of the common rationales given by proponents of this kind of program is that, I'm going to read from an email that I got actually, cats are not the problem. the problem exists because of irresponsible people. They were either dumped or their owners move and leave their cats behind. Another problem is that the owners do not have a house pet neutered and they get out. And I don't see how enacting a program that ensures that dumped and left behind cats will be well fed will deter this kind of behavior. Indeed, and again, I'm not trying to make myself an expert, but I've looked around at some of the literature, pro and con. One report says that TNR efforts may be hampered if colony locations are made public. An early study in popular public parks of Miami-Dade County, Florida, revealed that highly visible, well-fed cat colonies attracted illegal abandonment of additional cats, including numerous kittens and females with litters. Remember, cats are not the problem. The problem exists because of irresponsible people. They were either dumped or their owners move and leave their cats behind. I also want to remind people that this is a trap, neuter, and return pilot program. And as I noted and has since been updated in our most recent Board of Health reports, there were 62 dead cats removed year to date. And as I said then, returning the cats, you're effectively consigning them to the same fate. I say that because no one has explained to me exactly how feeding and neutering a cat makes them less likely to be hit by a car. Now, I got an email actually saying exactly that. Quote, also, spayed, neuter cats are healthier and live longer lives, and a study shows that male cats are less likely to be hit by cars after being neutered. Of course, they didn't say what study or exactly how that worked. Neutering a cat makes them less likely to be hit by a car. Ultimately, the fallback rationale given for why we should do this program is that what we're doing isn't working. I'm willing to concede that what we're doing isn't working. Of course, what we're doing right now is nothing. We're just picking the dead cats up off the roads. And while I'm not advocating for or against it here, for the record, it should be noted that how many cats have been euthanized in the past 5 years? 6, Mr. Rowe, you gave me that number. And as for whether the proposed pilot program is better than nothing, I certainly don't claim to be an expert on this, but the research that I've seen is mixed at best. Some studies show it can be effective when combined with other initiatives, and others say it's not effective. The American Veterinary Medical Association has stated that, quote, the reduction in the total number of free-roaming cats these programs will affect is insignificant. And there are certainly cases where it's been a disaster. So when I'm asked to consider whether to do this, I've said it before and I'll repeat it here, I'm just asking that the quantifiable goals for the pilot program should be stated for the record beforehand so that we all know what we're voting on. Because, mark my word, if we pass an ordinance to allow people to feed stray cats, barring a catastrophic disaster, that will continue indefinitely. No one will ever vote to repeal that. Instead, the rationale will be changed to justify its continuation. The groundwork, in fact, is already being laid for that. As one person argued to me, well, the group should definitely work out a goal, but say the goal is a 60% reduction and you only see a 30% reduction. Isn't a reduction still a reduction? Well, yes, of course. And so is 20%, or 10%. Or 5%, or even just one less cat, right? Never mind that the only difference is that people will be feeding those stray cats legally. Remember that as one of the proponents of this type of program said to me, cats are not the problem. The problem exists because of irresponsible people. They were either dumped or their owners move and leave their cats behind. Enacting this ordinance isn't going to change that. It's just going to give people a license to feed stray cats. So I'll be voting against this ordinance.
Thank you. Leventhal, you have anything? Mr. Ryan?
Just to say that I will be voting for this ordinance. I believe that having a 3-year pilot that searches and implements a new way to deal with the issue of feral cats is, especially with the community backing it up, is well worth our effort.
Ron, you have anything?
Yeah, just wanted to say that, I've thought about this a lot. I think Mr. Brownlee makes some very good points, and I don't necessarily disagree with all of the points that he's made. I just wanted to say that this reminds me a little bit of the discussion that we had about, licensing people to have chickens in their backyard. I voted against that. I was very concerned that it was going to be a great big problem for people. I was wrong. It wasn't a big problem for people at all. It turns out to be just fine. I think this program, I think we can all admit that this program probably has some slightly vague goals, and goals that are somewhat difficult to quantify. But they're reasonably good goals, they're reasonably positive goals. I talked to some people who run a TNR program in Newark, near where I work, and I've been running it for several years, and I discussed the debate we were having with them. They said, and this is what convinced me or helped me get my arms around how I wanted to vote on this. The purpose of a TNR program is to trap and neuter a cat so that it doesn't reproduce itself. That's the fundamental purpose of the thing. It doesn't matter. I don't buy the argument that, they're less aggressive or they're not going to reproduce themselves. That's the true value of the program. Trapping them and inoculating them helps prevent the spread of diseases. Trapping them gives an opportunity for adoption. All of those things might not work, but I think that it will make the situation better. I don't think that having the program in place will harm anyone, although if somebody convinces me that I'm wrong about that, I'll be more than happy to vote to repeal it. But as of right now, based on what I've learned about it and thinking about it, I'm going to vote in favor of giving it a try.
Anyone have anything else?
You said that there are slightly vague goals. Again, as I would argue, there's platitudes. There's really no stated goals. That's what I've been asking for. Ms. Larrier said we've been talking about this since January, February, but I've asked two fundamental questions. It says to reduce the number of feral cats. Again, I'm not looking for a number like 23 or 79. I'm just looking for some order of magnitude of what we're expecting. And I've tried to keep an open mind on this from the beginning, but the more pushback or non-response I've gotten to that question, along with the question of, it says a reduction in animal control costs. Okay, what are we talking about? About how much? I haven't gotten anything. It's just made me more skeptical. As I pondered this, I said, and if you'll indulge me in this, I said, let me ask a question. We're experiencing a rise in the number of feral cats. I think we'd agree at that. Okay? And so that's why we're contemplating doing this program. So let's say that there are, again, we don't have any numbers, but let's say there are 100 feral cats that are adopted into colonies as a result of doing this program. Okay, we're experiencing right now a rise in feral cats. And again, I'm trying to keep an open mind on this. And at the end of 3 years, the number of feral cats has not risen. There's still 100 feral cats. Do we consider the pilot program a success?
You're asking that question.
I'm asking that question. We're experiencing a rise in feral cats. If 3 years later, the number has not risen, it's still at 100. Do we consider the pilot program a success?
For my part,
I would say so.
For my part, I would consider it a success. A lack of a rise, for my part, would be a success. Because if it hasn't, if in a year it's not risen, in 2 years it will likely go down.
I don't know if any others want to say anything.
No, look, if
Well,
you're successfully spaying them,
No.
And if you weren't doing that, they would be, doing what cats do and making more cats. So I think you could say that that stopping the growth of the population with this program could be regarded as success.
Okay.
So,
Well, here's
you asked the question, so let's
Okay,
see if
please.
anyone wants to give the. Do you want to say anything? Okay. All right.
Well, here's where I'm going with that. That's exactly the kind of, I dare say, politician doublespeak that I said that I wasn't going to indulge myself in. Because I don't want to be the person who, when someone comes to me about the pilot program and there's 100 feral cats, and 3 years from now, there's 100 feral cats, and people are feeding them as well. And someone asked me, well, you said you were adopting this pilot program to reduce the number of feral cats. And the only difference is there's the same number of cats as there were before, and people are feeding them. And you're going to call that a success. I just can't rationalize that type of, oh, well, see, it's a reduction in the growth. So I'd consider, I'm twisting myself. And for that reason, I just can't, again, I just want the goal stated, and then let's work with that. I can't indulge in that type of rationalization. And that's why I say that the program will never be repealed, because if we're going to go through that kind of jumping through hoops to somehow sort of justify it because we didn't set the goals in advance, that's why I'm reluctant to support this.
But I would suggest, for myself, if the program were never repealed and we had 100 feral cats for the next 20 years, I would actually be very happy.
That may be true. That may be true, and I appreciate your response. But what's stated here for me to consider to vote on the pilot program, the primary benefit of the pilot program, one of the goals, so-called goals, is, and they said their mission is, to reduce the number of homeless cats, feral cats, whatever you want to call them. And that's not the case.
Yeah,
and so, but we're going to consider it a success, even though it didn't do that.
Made some good points. You've
We
asked
all
some
have
questions.
different definitions of success.
Right. And I'm not sure all of us would agree with you on defining, I think, reasoned decisions as political doublespeak. I think there can be a different perspective in 3 years, or 1, 2, and 3 years. We're going to be looking this is not just a static thing where we pass this tonight and 36 months from now we look at it again. This is going to be an ongoing conversation. We're going to get the information. So we're going to be able to measure these things as we go along, and there may be some opportunity for course corrections. That's usually what happens in a pilot. But I would say that, I guess I would reject the question, because if there's 100 feral cats now and there's 100 feral cats in 36 months, does that mean we failed or succeeded? What I would say is if we manage those 100 cats over that 36-month period, and that there were less cats produced, less kittens produced, and there was some monitoring of our expenses, and I would assume if we have a colony, we're not sending out the animal control officer to go give a ticket to that person as we would if you're doing it illegally. So there's going to be some savings there, some opportunity to redeploy our animal control officer. So I think that there's more than just the number. There is the number, and I think it's a valid question, is, can you point to, in 36 months, is there going to be a reduction, an actual number reduction? We don't know.
Well, I'm not asking us to know. I'm asking the group that is presenting this to us to do that.
But we're voting on this. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but they're
I'm
presenting-
voting on this knowing that this is a management plan that I'm voting on.
A what?
A management plan. And you're right. We don't manage it very well right now. It's a responsive program. We hear about cats. We know we don't have places to bring these cats. We hear about people feeding. We go give tickets to people. It's not a very good system. So it is a broken system, and it isn't managing the system very well, or managing the problem very well. So I guess I would say that I think the question you asked is not the only question to ask. And I don't think it's doublespeak. I think it's just trying to figure out collectively, is there an alternative management structure that we can put in place? So far, we have gotten down to this one. Probably most of us up here, given our comments, when we first heard, I think there were a couple people that came to the police station, so it must have been 18 months ago or so, and talked about trap neuter release. I says, no way. You just said it tonight. We talked about it. He said, we're not going to do this stuff. Even Mr. Rowe said you weren't in favor of it. But when we looked at what we were doing and what we potentially could do, this seems like a better avenue to take. Do we have everything wrapped up? Maybe not. But in 36 months, we're not going to pull the shutters down and not look at this. I think we're going to look at it, and if we need to, we're going to have interaction with Mr. Rowe, with Furry Hearts, and if we need to make changes, we can make changes.
In 12 months.
Well, yeah, but over those 36 months. So I think you have articulated your position very well, consistently. And I think that you're right. You have not gotten as much of a specific response as you have requested. You're right.
I don't think I've gotten any response, but
okay,
fine.
All right.
Fine.
Well, that's not as much as you requested.
Well,
okay.
nothing
zero,
is not.
Zero
Nothing
is still not as
zero
much.
is not as
Right.
much. I will agree.
So,
yes.
so I think there's clearly sentiment on the Township Committee to move forward with this. I think you have given us a lot of things to think about as we go forward. We're going to probably look back at some of your comments and say, well, maybe we need to think harder about this or harder about that, and maybe it is more important this year after 12 months or 6 months or 18 months. Maybe it is more important to start looking at the numbers and bringing the numbers down. But at this point, I think the majority up here feels confident enough of taking this step, taking this opportunity to change our management structure because the current management structure isn't working. And I think that's what we're doing.
I remain unpersuaded.
I understand.
And I appreciate that. I just wanted to articulate it. I think, like I said, 3 years from now, any period from now, we'll find ways to rationalize it. Just, like I said, I just gave that example, and I think that's a very realistic scenario. There's feral cats. 3 years from now, there's same number of feral cats. People are feeding them. But we're going to continue because I would think that the group that's running the program should be able to, again, if 3 years isn't the realistic time period to achieve all the results of the program, you know what, we're going to get a 60% reduction, but it's going to take, Mr. Ryan keeps alluding to the fact they don't reproduce, obviously, after the neuter, and it's going to be 5 years. Okay, fine. But they should be able to tell us that, but after 3 years, we'll probably get around this percent, and that way we'll know we're on our way. Okay? But I haven't heard that either. I haven't heard anything. So.
Okay. So I think some of us don't project
so
3 years out that it's going to be an automatic vote. You do. That's fine. And I think that's the beauty of democracy. Anything else? Well,
Mr. Brownlee?
No.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
yes.
Passes.
All right. We have a resolution.
Yes, item 8, resolution number 213-14, designating Furry Hearts Rescue as a sponsoring organization for the pilot program prohibiting the feeding and controlling the proliferation of feral cats in a humane manner.
Is Larry going to move this?
Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
It's a resolution.
The resolution.
Move it.
I move it to yes. I move it, yes.
I move it to yes?
You're moved by it?
I am.
Okay. And you're moving it. Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Any? It's been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Getting a little punchy here.
It's been a long time.
Not going to reiterate my remarks, but clearly, since the group presenting this has not given me any answers, I'm going to vote against having them being the designee as well.
Okay. Okay. Please call the roll.
Mr. Brownlee?
No.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you.
Passes.
We have introduction of a new ordinance.
Item 9, Mayor, introduction of new ordinance, ordinance number 2762-14. It's an ordinance to rescind ordinance 1862-91 and Chapter 103 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood. This ordinance will eliminate the municipal regulation of chlorofluorocarbons and halons.
Gonna move it?
Yep. Yes.
Go ahead. You have to read
Move
it.
passage of this ordinance on its first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on Monday, November 17th, 2014.
Second.
Ms. Leventhal, you want to explain what we're doing here?
Yes. These elements don't exist any longer and are, well, I should say no longer manufactured, and the federal government has laws related to them, so this is not necessary at the municipal level any longer.
Anybody have any comments or questions?
Just one comment.
Yes.
I'm impressed by your ability to pronounce chlorofluorocarbons.
I gave it a shot, was I correct?
Yes. Yes. Call the roll.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Ms. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes. Okay, we have we have introduction of a final new ordinance. Yes, final new ordinance. Yes. Item number 10.
Item 10, Mayor, ordinance number 2763-14. It's an ordinance to amend Chapter 257 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Vehicles and Traffic. This ordinance will establish 20-minute parking on Maplewood Avenue in the area of 195 Maplewood Avenue, the new post office location, and create a limited-time loading zone on Maplewood Avenue in front of 195 Maplewood Avenue for post office delivery and pickup.
And Ms. Leventhal, can we get a motion on this?
Mr. Mayor, I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on Monday, November 17, 2014.
Second.
Mr. Manning, could you just go over this a little bit? You've been in communication with the post office?
Right. In front of 125 Maplewood Avenue, post office has requested a couple of things. One is some 20-minute parking spots so that people can come, do their post office business, and leave. In addition to that, they need to have a certain area as a loading zone and unloading zone for the mail in the morning and the afternoon, 6 days a week, not including Sunday. So this ordinance has been drafted with the help of Mr. Desiderio, with the help of Tom Malavasi, and it establishes the loading zone, which can also be used during the non-loading zone time as 20-minute parking, and 20-minute parking spaces in front of that building so that they can conduct business.
The total number of 20-minute parking spaces is?
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Yeah,
I
it sounds
think it's 4.
I suggested when we talked about this in discussion that perhaps there should be handicap parking there. Now,
Right.
are we going to do that under
That wouldn't be
separate
20
cover,
minutes.
or?
That would not be 20 minutes. Handicap parking.
But are we going to put it in
Yes.
at some point?
We can ask Mr. Malavasi if there needs to be... Right, but we can ask Mr. Malavasi if he should look at that strip and see what it requires as far as handicap parking there.
So we're going to do that?
Yeah, we can
Okay,
do that.
great, thank you.
Yes.
have one addition. When we originally drafted the ordinance, you may not believe this, but dealing with the Postal Service is taxing.
No.
Mr. Manning had been trying to get clarification. Actually, Ms. Leventhal raised the issue. The way the ordinance is presently drafted, it calls for the loading zone 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Mr. Manning finally got a clarification, I think yesterday,
Yes.
indicating that the Saturday loading zone, they would like it to be 3 p.m. to 4
4
p.m.
p.m., right.
So I do believe that to be a substantive change. So I'd like the ordinance to be amended to reflect that. We'll make that change. It'll have to be republished, and then it'll come on for final at the December 2nd meeting as opposed to the November 17th.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we ask Mr. Malavasi to look at this the handicap spot and reintroduce it on the 17th?
With both.
With both. With the change in the Saturday time, and if he thinks that a handicap spot is warranted along there. But I would not want to make one of the 4 spots right in front, 20-minute spots, a handicap spot.
But I think that I think the issue of whether it's warranted, it may not be warranted, but I'm not sure that that is what Mrs. Lowry is asking. I think you're asking for one be placed there anyway, whether it's warranted or
I
not.
can't imagine that it wouldn't be warranted.
Right. Well, let's get his
I can't
input.
imagine it wouldn't be warranted.
Let's find out, let's see what he has to say, and then we can go back, and if it's not required, well, we can say, if we have discretion, then we can say yes
Okay.
to do.
All right, got it.
So we can
You
do
think we
both.
So you think we should just vote it down tonight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Since it's been introduced at this point, you
Yes.
should vote it down.
We just all say no?
Well, we're gonna do a roll call.
Well, maybe one
So
of us
we're
should
gonna,
vote
we're gonna
yes.
come back with the
Okay.
ordinance, we're gonna change the Saturday to 3 to 4, and we're gonna look at this handicap spot, which would be actually from the Abel Baker over to Baker Street. Because he may have to be a certain way in order to put a van there. You know, you have to, those handicap spots have to be a certain width.
Yes.
Yes.
So he'll have to take a look at that. Okay, so it's been moved and seconded on the advice of council to be suggesting that we vote this down so that we can reintroduce it. Please call the roll.
Mr. Brownlee?
No.
Mrs. Larrier?
No.
Ms. Leventhal?
No.
That's right, you know.
Mr. Ryan?
No.
Mayor DeLuca?
No, I'm not going to vote
I'm
yes.
going to vote no, but when I heard you first vote no, I got confused. I thought you were on a roll tonight, so you were going to vote yes. Okay. So let me ask you a question, because now that we've passed the feral cat thing, how did you give that eloquent statement and use the word catastrophe in the middle of it?
Without cracking a smile.
stopping
How'd
or
you do
anything.
that? That's very impressive.
That was very good.
Gotta slip things in there sometimes.
Okay.
Who says Marlon has
Yeah,
no
it's usually a Mr. Ryan thing. He kind
Yeah,
of picks
right.
up and adds something onto it.
We need a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes.
So
thank
am
you.
I going to confuse you going forward if I say something?
No,
you're gonna go-
I'm hip to
Okay,
this.
all right.
Don't say
Oh,
no.
don't say hip, right. Okay, we're at our second public comment period. Is there anyone who would like to address the Township Committee? Yes. Just give us your name and your address.
Good evening to all. My name is Janet Pizar. I'm a resident of Milburn Township. I live at 186 Main Street. I want to thank you all tonight for voting on the program for trap neuter release and the goal that you will have a diminished and reduced feral cat population. Mr. Brownlee, I find you so impressive. It's obvious you take your decision-making process to heart, because I could appreciate the independent research that you did to better understand this issue and your responsibilities. I would like to hand you some information, and including a DVD of what this type of program is all about and why it has been adopted by so many communities. The literature has actually been adopted by a national organization called Alley Cat Allies. I don't know if you found
I've
their
heard of them, yes.
website.
Mhm.
Okay. You can find them at alleycat.org, which more thoroughly explains the program. But to address your excellent question about having, hypothetically, 100 cats in the community, having a program in effect, 1, 2, or 3 years, and then finding you still have a population of 100 cats in the community, how do you rate the success? And I want to say one way to look at it is that if this cat population has been spayed and neutered, you're preventing the geometric progression of the births, which is what cats do. So now you have a stable cat population that will be reduced with the natural mortality. And the natural mortality is everything from succumbing to the elements, starvation if they're not managed or getting any food supply. It's predation by the coyotes that are out there and the other wild animals. It's the incidence of the car collisions. It could be old age, although I have to say that's usually unlikely in a homeless cat. So once the goal of spaying and neutering has been achieved, and you have a stable cat population, the next part of it will be the natural mortality. So reduction should come from that point of view. However, you did raise the excellent point, which is the reality, and that is the replenishing of the cat population through the illegal behaviors of dumping and abandonment. So I believe for a comprehensive program that needs to be looked at. So,
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I will let him finish. Thank you. I wanted to hear what the rest of what you were going to say. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else want to address the Township Committee?
Thank you again, very excited, but I did want to address to you too.
Well, you got to come up to the microphone.
Again, I'm Laura
Let me
Klein.
just give you a tip from somebody who just won an election. When you win, celebrate what you win. You don't have to keep campaigning. It's over. Okay.
I don't.
All right.
I just want to say, while we can't give our own, what we project as concrete information, we did send along, and I'm sorry if you didn't receive any of the information, like from a program in Edison where they adopted a program like this in 2013, and they actually did see a 50% drop in the shelter cats intake, a 34% decrease in cat euthanasia, and which resulted in reductions in sheltering costs, that another organization had actually saved over $15,000 a year in impoundment and euthanasia fees since implementing programs. So while we didn't give you what our projected are, because it's hard to determine in the sense that we don't know how many cats actually are out there right now, which is one of the things that we have to collect. We did send along some information. I'm sorry if you didn't receive, and I'd be happy to have that sent to you again. Also, like I said, we are very excited, and I just wanted to answer those questions, for you and let you know that we understand that there are this is a program, this is new that we're adopting, but it's not just about letting people just freely feed their cats. They have to be and follow a strict protocol. They're going to need to spay and neuter and vaccinate. If that is not done, they're not going to be getting the township behind them and giving them that status of being an approved caretaker. So in that respect, they can still be fined if they're not doing and managing something humanely. So anyway, I'm not trying to be sour here. I just wanted to give you those thoughts and let you know that I'm happy, and we are too, to discuss. And if you have questions with us during this process, that we're here, and we're obviously are open to discussion. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else want to address the Township Committee?
As Mayor DeLuca said, when you win, just, because again, the things you said made me want to start talking again. So we'll just leave it,
Anyone else want to come up and try that? Okay, it could be a catastrophe if that happens, right? Okay. Anyone else?
Meeting's going along.
All right, administrative reports. Mr. Manning.
Just 2 items. One is that the last farmer's market is this coming Monday for the season. It will open up 21st season next spring, but is this Monday from 2 to 7, Indiana Street parking lot, Springfield Avenue, in Indiana. And the second item is that we are having a farewell retirement party for our DPW director. And if anyone in the public has come across Eric and would like to join us in our celebration, the clerk's office has some flyers where it explains the cost and how to sign up for it. So I just wanted people to know that.
Hey,
The date is...
December 5th.
no.
No, it's, yeah, it's
No,
it's Friday,
December 5th.
December 5th. Yes, Friday,
the
December
Woodland.
5th, 7 p.m. at the Woodland.
I have a couple of questions
Okay,
for you.
yes.
We got your Mr. Burbank's memo
Yes.
to you about the parking changes in the village and Donnell Road. So I spoke to Mr.
Who's? Oh, I'm sorry.
Burbanks.
Yes.
Burbank's to you.
Oh, okay.
About the parking changes, the 4 o'clock in the morning ones. Spoke to Mr. Desiderio, so we need to sort this out. Who? Mr. Desiderio, sitting next to you. So how would you suggest we get this moving forward?
Planning and engineering. I think it should go to planning and engineering.
Well, Mr. Burbank's not there.
What? Well, he can come to planning and engineering.
No, but that'll be pushed back too much, so it's got to be dealt with sooner because...
It's 8 o'clock
We
tomorrow
have
morning.
not done anything to move, did we? I mean, is that on for a final vote?
No.
No.
No, but we agreed to do it.
Yeah.
So then he gave us this memo that says to do some cautions. So I want to resolve the caution so that we can move forward. But I don't want to wait another month because it's not going to be dealt with tomorrow.
Then we need to, who do you...
Well, I'm asking you.
What?
Well, how are we going to get Mr. Burbank there?
Mr.
He's at
Burbank
work.
will
He
come
comes to work
and
at 7:30.
Tell you what his feelings are about it.
Fine, if you're going to get him there, but, we have other stuff. But if you can get it done, then we can do it tomorrow morning. He's probably watching right now.
Tomorrow morning. Oh, right, tomorrow morning is our planning and engineering.
Right.
Yes. I was thinking of the next one, but you're right, okay.
No, I
Yeah,
want to
he'll-
get it done before the next one.
I'm sure that I can text him and
Okay.
ask him to come.
All right. Curbside recycling.
My copy.
You're doing that? Okay. That's all I have then. Anything else for Mr. Manning? Mr. Desiderio?
Yes, Mayor, I have one item, and that is the curbside recycling. Bids were received on October the 9th, 2014, and only one bid was received, and that bid was for every other Monday recycling pickup. And this is for 2 years, was $499,998. The alternate bid was for collection every Monday, and it was actually $998 less, or $499,000. By way of comparison, prior year bids, I have the numbers, $318,026, $334,200, $390,000 was the last one. So there had been a great deal of discussion. I suggested to Mr. Correa that we check, there were a number of people who had picked up bids and had not submitted bids as to why that was. And, there was some concern. Obviously, we're talking about, I guess it's actually $110,000 higher for this bid than the last bid and the like. But after a great deal of discussion, it was suggested that the bid be rejected as being too high and that there be an authorization to go out for rebids. The specs are done for that. I think they're ready to go pretty quickly, right, Susan? Yes. Yeah. So what the request is that you pass a motion, which I'll memorialize into a resolution, rejecting this bid and authorizing a rebidding. And I think the preference is for once a week pickup. Would be a Monday pickup. In the event that there's a Monday holiday, then it would be on the Tuesday. So it effectively would be 52 or 53 pickups, depending on how the Mondays fall within a given year. And hopefully, we'll get more than one bid, so it will be some form of comparison, and hopefully the number will be better than $500,000. So that's the request. If you would entertain a motion, please, to reject the bid that was received on October the 9th and authorization for a new bid.
Yes,
I
you have a
just
question?
have one question. You said if there's a holiday on the Monday, it would be then on the Tuesday we have garbage pickup as well. Is that going to be an issue at all
Well, curbside is curbside, garbage is in the backyard.
in the backyard? Okay.
We have
I mean, we-
Monday pickup on garbage
now.
and Monday pickup
I
on
see.
recycling,
Okay.
so.
Yeah,
This is,
they
this
seem
is
to work it out.
recycling, I'm
Yes.
sorry. It's not backyard.
Yeah.
Right,
I know it's not.
recycling is
He's asking about
curbside.
garbage.
Garbage pickup is backyard.
He's
No,
saying
I was
the
just
garbage is in the
thinking about-
backyard, recycling's on the curb, so it doesn't
Right.
conflict.
I guess I was thinking more about
No,
all the trucks and everything, but it's not an issue, then
no.
not an issue.
I've never had a traffic jam of garbage trucks on my block.
I have those, see, so, yeah.
Problem. Okay, so we get a motion? To reject the
moved.
bids?
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Mrs. Leventhal?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor
I
DeLuca?
wasn't sure.
I'm voting with Mr. Brownlee, yes.
Unanimous again.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Ms. Fritzen?
Okay, I have a couple things. Last Tuesday, we had a very successful volunteer dinner for all the volunteers that make Maplewood so special, and I think we had near to 100 people there. And I think everybody appreciated it and had a good evening. Yesterday was Election Day. I congratulate Mayor DeLuca and Mrs. Larrier on their reelection. Look forward to working with you. We did have machine breakdowns, which is very, very unusual, and I feel for the Maplewood voters, particularly in 2 districts, because it's so unusual with these new machines to have breakdowns, and so unusual in one particular district to have the machine replaced 3 times, and only getting maybe 2 hours out of the entire voting day of operation. Voting machines that were delivered, and the minute they were dropped off, did not work. So we had a lot of emergency ballots and provisional ballots out there. Also had an issue with one machine in 17. Again, just very unusual that we would have breakdowns, because we just, as a rule, do not.
We also had a machine bad in 11.
Yes, but 17 and 19 were like, 19 was an all-day affair. I have to say the board workers were very, very diligent. It was frustrating for them. They were, worked very well with the public, and they were frustrated as well with the lines and things. But at 10:30 last night, we still were waiting on the results to be brought down to Town Hall because they were counting a lot of manuals. So, we will hopefully get these issues clarified for next June. My staff did an excellent job, as they always do, and it's a big team to have everything pulled off here at Town Hall through results and things. I apologize for the one error that went out there last night. That was in the results, that clearly Mrs. Larrier was the victor, and...
No, I'm the victor.
You know, I like saying that.
She's the
too.
India.
And
She's
you're the
India,
victor
I'm
as well.
Victor, she's India.
You're Elizabeth.
So, thank you.
Explain these things, I'm telling you.
My other item is, next Tuesday, we have our 11th annual Veterans Day right here in this room, beginning at 11 a.m., and it's Veterans Day ceremony. It's been a really nice ceremony. We have a speaker named Stuart Lutz, who is going to be speaking and also bringing some very valuable war memorabilia with him from Sword Wars. We're going to have them on display. We have the Maplewood Community Band. We have a singer. We have 2 singers. We have clergy lined up. And after the event, the veterans are welcome and treated to lunch right here in the lobby. And it's a nice day. If you've never attended, I think you should. Thank you.
I have a question about the poll workers. Do we do any training with the poll workers, or is that
The
done by
poll workers have to go to training, and the training is coordinated by the County of Essex, and the Division of Elections Department, and they have to attend training. And I am told that they do.
Okay, so we have a couple of instances, particularly in District 11, where the poll workers had difficulty understanding the names of the voters and asked them for ID, which in this state, we don't ask for ID.
Correct.
And it is, I think, a message that I'd like to send to the county that they need to instruct their poll workers not to ask for ID. With all this controversy across this country about voter ID programs and discouraging people to vote, I'd hate to have that occur here, where because someone doesn't have an ID and a poll worker is not able to understand that person, that voter gets discouraged and leaves, or is just disenfranchised.
Okay, I
Okay.
noted that. I'll take care of that tomorrow.
Anything for Ms. Fritzen? Your crew did a good job, as usual.
Yeah, it's very,
You get a
very,
different adding
great
machine, but you
job.
did a good job anyway.
They, you know, it's an all-day event, and last night went at least an hour longer than normal with the situation we had, and admirable event.
Okay.
Didn't work.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Elected officials, Mr. Ryan,
No report.
Ms. Leventhal.
I'd like to mention that I attended the senior club meeting today and the senior luncheon that had approximately 40 attendees. Was sponsored with the Parkwood Diner. It was Thanksgiving dinner. And the seniors and the staff at the DeHart Center under Michelle Wesley are looking at how they can grow the club and reach more of the seniors and also work with seniors in terms of the diversity amongst us, where there are active seniors and then there are seniors that need transportation, etc. So it was a good meeting.
Mr. Brownlee?
Just I'll be having my office hours next Thursday, not Tuesday, November 13th at 7 o'clock p.m. at the Hilton branch of the Maplewood Memorial Library from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you know what? I don't know if I can go back, but I did want to commend the Recreation Department. Yesterday, there was an issue where some of the residents at the Irvington Avenue senior facility, a senior building, were unable to get to the polls, and I will say that the Recreation Department fixed that, actually, while I stood there. So I just wanted to commend them, and if you could pass that on for me, I would appreciate. I mentioned it then, but just pass it on. Thank you. And I have no report other.
Okay, I want to change my office hours. I have it scheduled for Monday because I thought we were not going to be here Tuesday, but we are going to be here Tuesday for the planning board. So my office hours are going to be Tuesday, November 11th, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So Tuesday, November 11th, I'll have my office hours here in Town Hall.
Okay.
And I think that's it. I just want to thank everybody for their support on Election Day. I look forward to another 3 years. It's been very exciting. It was a good election. We talked about the issues, and very happy to get the response. So thank you, Maplewood voters. We need a motion to go into closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to read that
Yep.
statement. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, whereas this public body is the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, Now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee, Township of Maplewood, County of Essex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public shall be excluded from the discussion of any action upon the herein specified subject matter. The general nature of the subject matter discussed as follows. Personnel, specifically a personnel interview. It is anticipated at this time the above stated subject matter will be made public. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Second.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes.
Mrs. Larrier?
Yes.
Ms. Leventhal? Yes. Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor DeLuca?
Yes, thank you very much. We will be back here on Monday, November 15th. 17th, that's what I'm saying. Saturday, 15th is Saturday, don't come in. Monday, the 17th, and that is because Tuesday, the 18th, the League of Municipalities Conference starts in Atlantic City, and we will be there. So November, we have a couple of times when we have different nights when we meet, so it will be Monday, November 17th. Thank you very much.